Hello and welcome back to another video on the Football Zone and to another weekend previewing all of this weekend's Premier League and Championship action. And let's get straight into it, starting off with a Friday night Premier League game this week, Arsenal versus Aston Villa. Arsenal will obviously be looking for a win after a really disappointing draw against Crystal Palace. They weren't great, 2 draws recently after an upturn in form. They'll want to win again desperately. Villa, they've lost the last 2, so I don't think Arsenal will have a better opportunity to do this, especially after Villa's collapse last week, and I think they will do it. I'm going to say 2-0. Chelsea take on Norwich at Stamford Bridge, and this is a big game for Chelsea because obviously Timo Werner and Romelu Lukaku went off injured in that Champions League game in the week, so they'll desperately be hoping they've got a decent strike force here. Even if they're not available, and will need to be banging the goals because that could really hurt them if they're out for a while. But yeah, Norwich, they're not great at the moment, as we know, so I do think they will get the win without them, and I think it will be comfortable. I'm going to say 3-0. Obviously, Crystal Palace take on Newcastle at Selhurst Park in the first game since Steve Bruce departed as Newcastle manager. And yeah, this is a big one for Newcastle. Will there be an upturn in fortune? To be honest, it's hard to see with Graham Jones in place as manager. To be honest, I just don't know why they didn't keep Steve Bruce until they find a new manager. I don't really see how Graham Jones is an upgrade. And yeah, Palace, they've improved a lot recently, so I can see them nicking a win here. I'm going to say a 1-0 win. And then moving on, Everton host Watford at Goodison Park. Everton, they're a bit inconsistent at the moment, to be honest. They've kind of gone off the boil a bit recently. Obviously, that 1-0 defeat to West Ham last time out. But yeah, Watford, they're not looking great either at the moment, I think it's fair to say. That first game under Ranieri was an absolute shambles against Liverpool. So Everton will really be fancying their chances here to get back a bit of form, and I think they will do. I'm going to say a 2-0 win. Moving on, Leeds host Wolves at Ellen Road. Leeds, they're inconsistent at the moment, I think it's fair to say. But Wolves, they're on a great run, 3 wins on the trot. So yeah, I think Wolves will be fancying their chances coming into this one. But Leeds, I don't know, I kind of fancy they'll get the result out of this. I think it'll be a really, really close game. But I'm just not sure which way it's going to go, which is why I am going to say a draw. I think it will be a score draw, so I'll say 1-1. Moving on, Southampton host Burnley at St Mary's. Southampton, they're kind of on an inconsistent run at the moment as well, really. But obviously got that win over Leeds last time out, which will really help them. But yeah, as for Burnley, not been a great start to the season at all. 3 points from 8 games. They really do need to start picking up results soon, otherwise they could easily get cut adrift at the bottom of the table, and they really don't need that. But I do think Southampton will have too much for them here. It will be a close one, but I'm going to say a 1-0 Saints win. Moving on, Brighton host Man City at the Amex. And yeah, this won't be an easy game for Man City. Brighton, still unbeaten, but obviously they've drawn their last 3 games now. One against Norwich last time, I think they really would have wanted to win that. But you know, Man City, they're looking really good at the moment. Really solid performances across the board, and kind of looking like the team to beat again, although it is close between them and Liverpool. But yeah, I'm going to say a 1-0, or I'll say 2-0 actually. 2-0 City win. But moving on, Brentford host Leicester at the Brentford Community Stadium. This is an interesting one. I kind of feel like Leicester will turn the corner, because obviously it's not been a great start to them with that win over United last time out. So yeah, I kind of feel like Leicester have turned a corner now. But Brentford, 1-0 loss to Chelsea last time out. They were unlucky. They really are hanging with some of the big teams, and I expect no different here. But you know, I just think Leicester, if they're back to their best now, will have a bit too much quality for them, which is why I'm going to say a 1-0 Leicester win. But moving on, it's a London derby as West Ham take on Tottenham, and this is another interesting game. West Ham, 4 wins from 5 in all competitions now, and they're looking really, really good. Everton win last time out, that's a great result for them. But Tottenham, 3 wins on the trot now, and they did look quite good against Newcastle, I think it's fair to say, in a big game for Newcastle. So yeah, I'm expecting this to be a close but entertaining game, and I'm going to say a 1-1 draw. I think it will be a close one. Good game though. But moving on, definitely the main event of the weekend, you could say. Manchester United host Liverpool at Old Trafford. And Man United, boy, they needed that comeback last time out in the Champions League against Atalanta. That will give them a huge confidence boost. But yeah, if you just watch how good Liverpool have looked against Watford and Athletic during the week, to be honest, with the way Man United have been playing recently, it's hard to see anything other than a Liverpool win here. So I'm going to say a 2-0 away win. Moving on then to the Championship, and it's the Neil Warnock derby as Cardiff host Middlesbrough at the Cardiff City Stadium. And Joe, do you believe the reports this could be the game where Mick McCarthy loses his job if he doesn't win it? So yeah, they do really need a win here from this one, Cardiff. But yeah, Middlesbrough, they've won the last two, not against the best teams, but then again, they're not coming up against one of the best teams. Cardiff have lost the last 7 now. So yeah, it will be an interesting one. I can see Cardiff nicking a point, but I'm not sure if it will be enough to save Mick McCarthy. Blackburn host Reading at Ewood Park, and yeah, this is a big game for Reading, of course, because after that really disappointing defeat to Blackpool last time out, that collapse really, they'll need to bounce back. But Blackburn, they're not on a great run of form at all at the moment, dropping down to 13th in the league after a good start, so it'll be interesting to see which way this one goes. I think it will be a close game, but you know, I just think Reading's confidence will be shot from that collapse, so I'm going to say a narrow Blackburn win. Blackpool host Preston in a derby at Bloomfield Road. And yeah, Blackpool, speaking of that Reading collapse, they'll be on a massive high out of that. Hopefully they can take a lot of confidence from that one, because they've been a bit inconsistent recently, but I do think they will take a lot of confidence from that against Preston, who yeah, got their first win in ages last time out too, but I just think the manner of that win for Blackpool will give them so much confidence here. I don't think there's much to separate the two teams, but I do think Blackpool will nick a win here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on, Bournemouth host Huddersfield at the Vitality Stadium, and Bournemouth, yeah, they're looking really good at the moment, it has to be said. 5 points clear at the top of the table. Huddersfield, they've had a really impressive start to the season too, obviously drawing last time out against Birmingham. I think they could have seen that as a winnable game, but it wasn't to be. And Bournemouth, on current form, I'm definitely not going to bet against them, so I'm going to say a 2-0 Bournemouth win. But yeah, moving on, Coventry host Derby in a really interesting game at the Ricoh Arena. Coventry, obviously 2-1 loss to Preston last time out, wasn't a great result for them at all. But yeah, except for that, on the whole, they've been pretty solid, barring that 5-0 defeat to Luton, of course. Derby, they seem to be drawing a lot of games at the moment, but Coventry, they'll be desperate for a win here, still 4th in the table, still performing really well. I think that game last time out will just be a blip, and I think they will have enough to just edge past Derby here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on, Luton host Hull at Kenilworth Road. Luton, yeah, they're looking really solid at the moment, unbeaten in 4, couple of really solid wins, although they could have been looking at 4 wins from 4 maybe, you could argue, but you know, it just wasn't to be. But then you've got Huddersfield and Peterborough, the two teams that Hull have lost to recently, and they're looking really poor. To be honest, I think Grant McCann's on borrowed time already, and I can see Luton getting a win here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on, Millwall host Stoke at the Den. And Millwall, yeah, they're on a pretty solid run at the moment. 3 wins from the last 4. Obviously did lose to Luton at the weekend, but except for that, looking really solid. Really great away win last time out. So they'll be coming into this one full of confidence. Stoke, although they haven't necessarily played bad in any of these last 2 games, they have lost 2 on the trot, so they'll be desperate to get back into form here. And I've just got a feeling that they will, to be honest. I think they're looking really good at the moment still, and I think they will get the win. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on, Peterborough host QPR at the Western Home Stadium, and yeah, Peterborough 2-1 win last time out against Hull, and that's a big win for them. Hopefully that will give them lots of confidence, because we know they do have some good talent in their squad, they just haven't really utilised it so far this season. QPR, they have been inconsistent recently, but that hope for that 1-0 win against Blackburn will kind of set them up, and they'll go back to good old consistent QPR, and I do think they will have enough to nick a win here. I'm going to say 1-0. Moving on, West Brom host Bristol City at the Hawthorns, and for Bristol City, I feel it could be a similar case to Reading, where they're just totally shot with confidence after that comeback in the week, and with how late it was. But West Brom, yeah, they've lost 2 of their last 3 now, so they'll be desperate to hit a good run of form. Bristol, though, had already lost 2 of their last 3 before that. So yeah, it's not been going well for them, and I do think West Brom will have to be targeting all 3 points from this. I'm going to say 2-0 to West Brom. Moving on, Birmingham host Swansea at St Andrews, and yeah, Birmingham, solid point last time out against Huddersfield, but before that it really hasn't been a good run of form, and they just can't seem to put the ball in the back of the net at the moment, so they need to do that against the Swansea side, who definitely are picking up at the moment. 7 points from the last 9, 2 really solid wins since the international break, so they'll be coming into this on a high, and it finally does seem like it's clicking under Russell Martin. So yeah, I'm going to say a draw, but I could easily see it going either way. Moving on, Barnsley host Sheffield United at Oakwell, and yeah, Sheffield United, they're really inconsistent at the moment, it has to be said, but Barnsley are very consistent. They're just consistent at losing at the moment, and yeah, they just don't look good at all, really. And I think, kind of like Grant McCann, Marcus Schropp is already on borrowed time, and you could say Mick McCarthy as well. And I can only see this going one way, the quality Sheffield United have. I'm going to say 2-0 Sheffield win. Moving on then, final game of the day, Nottingham Forest host Fulham at the City Ground. Forest, they've won their last 4 on a great run of form. Weren't as good as they have been last time against Bristol, but yeah, those 2 late comebacks, what a result for them. But Fulham, they've won their last 2 now, and they're slowly but surely looking back to their best. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Should be a high quality game, but I just fancy Fulham to nick it. I'm going to say a 2-0 win. But anyway guys, that's it for the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe. Have your thoughts, comments down below. Follow on to the link description below for daily football news, and subscribe to my channel on the screen right now. That would be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace.